Hello and welcome to Custom Gamer. My name is Des and this is the show where we talk about level design while playing cool maps. This is part 4 of Defendville, and the map we're looking at today is called Outpost 400 by Gallagher. Now I believe, just from various comments that I've read around the place, that this is his first publicly released map. I'm sure he'll correct me if I'm wrong. And while it does have a fair share of issues which we can talk about later, as first maps go, it's a pretty good one. When you consider that I think most people's first public release map probably consists of something along the lines of a box with some enemies in it, at least in my experience. This is certainly a lot more involved than that. Although I look forward to what he puts out in the future, because this is certainly a strong first entry. This is also one of the only maps in the pack which really focused on the gravity gun as the primary way of dealing with things, which has its own positives and negatives, as we'll see. So as you might expect from a gravity gun map, there's plenty of stuff to lob around and create little traps with. As you can see here, all the various boxes and various heavy objects which you're going to need to defend yourself with, as this map is very light on weapons and ammo. I think there's an SMG, and there might be a shotgun lying around somewhere. You can pick up an AR too, I think, from some of the soldiers later on. But for the most part you're going to be stuck with the gravity gun for most of this. And there's another really long wait time in the beginning, around 10 minutes I'm guessing, for you to set up, which, as I've already noted plenty of times throughout these videos, is just way too long to be doing stuff like this. I really would have preferred if you could just trigger the ambush with even just a button or something. It's a bit gamey, but it's much better than waiting 10 minutes wondering if the map has stalled or something. So the main problems I have with this release is that there is a supreme lack of cover and a supreme lack of health and armor to keep you alive, which, coupled with the fact that you're mainly using the gravity gun to kill enemies, is a very nasty combination. Generally when you're using the gravity gun you're going to be taking more damage as a result, because you have to be closer to the enemies, and generally what you're holding in front of you generally isn't going to stop all the bullets coming your way. Whereas if you're using a weapon you can kind of stay in cover and then just pop out and shoot some guys. So yeah, the lack of health and armor is really the crippling factor here. There just isn't enough of it around to keep you alive through the assaults, which is really unfortunate. Because I think with more suit energy and health added to the map, I think this could have been really fun, along with some tweaks to perhaps the enemy spawns and things like that. But yeah, as it stands it just gets very frustrating because you just can't keep yourself alive. The other contributing factor to this is just the fact that there's no cover. You've got this kind of generator in the centre of the room. Aside from that, you're just kind of stuck in this giant warehouse. There's a couple of bits of wood here and there, but it's really not enough to keep you alive, especially when enemies start coming from multiple directions. It's really nasty. There really needs to be some kind of walls and other things like that around here. Okay, so let's skip the waiting portion and get straight to the combat, as there really is nothing else happening in the map right now. So you've got the sparks here which indicate which door the Combine are cutting through. Again, it's a nice visual aid to show you where you're being attacked from. I just think the visuals could have used a little bit more work. But again, you have to keep into account that mappers are on a time limit for this competition, so stuff like visual polish is the kind of stuff that generally gets pushed back in favour of gameplay in these competitions. But it would have been nice to see perhaps the sparks going around the shape of the door and then it being blown inwards. So you can see here, as you're attacked through the front door, you're also attacked from the skylight here. It falls inwards and you get some Combined soldiers coming from behind you. Again, this is the kind of issue that I've seen in other maps as well, where you're kind of shown to defend one door and then the enemy comes from behind you anyway. It's happened in a couple of maps already in this pack, which is kind of annoying. It's the kind of thing that, like I mentioned in the previous video, would have been great for like the final wave, or just something to add a little bit of randomness later on. But in the very first wave it does feel a little bit crappy. There's also a little bit of a timing issue here, so you kill a bunch of Combined soldiers, and then it's kind of this giant wait time between the next wave, which feels a little bit bad. You can see here the Combines start cutting through this door as well. There really needs to be more anticipation of this kind of assault in through the skylights. There really needs to be like some kind of entrance sound. Perhaps like that combined pinging sound followed by an explosion which breaks the skylight. It really needs to be more of a visual effect. I remember the first time I played this map, I had no idea where these combined soldiers had come from. I just suddenly started being hit from behind. There was no warning at all. So you can see here I'm just getting absolutely destroyed. There's really no cover to hide behind. And you really don't have any decent long-range weapons to deal with the combine on the opposite side of the room. So yeah, it gets very, very tough. This is one of the few maps that I couldn't actually complete without using cheats, unfortunately. And it is mainly just due to the health and armor issue. Perhaps with more cover it'd be doable without the extra health, but you know, that's debatable as well. Because you're under so much pressure all the time just to survive, it's very, very hard to actually use the gravity gun to do anything, because you feel very, very vulnerable while doing so. You don't have a gun in your hand, and trying to take something out at long distance with a gravity gun can be very hard. I think the gravity gun works best when you're kind of feeling a little bit safe and you can kind of experiment a little bit. But you never really feel like that in this map. So again here there's a long pause between waves that feels a bit wrong as well. The timings really need to be tuned up a little bit more. There's me wasting my own health jumping around. So you can see the combine have started cutting down the third door there. And this one here. This is where I ultimately meet my doom. Because it turns out combine soldiers with AR2s are fairly accurate. So yeah, it's a good idea using the gravity gun to defend an area, but the lack of cover and lack of health and armor really killed this map, I think, which is a shame. I look forward to his next release. Alright, I'll see you for more Defendville soon.